Hello and welcome back to 100 Days of Magic. I am here to talk about sacred space and water today. Sorry I'm a bit late. We had a few technical difficulties, but Mercury's not retrograde anymore, so hopefully we will be having fewer of those over time. Remember, 100 Days of Magic is all little tips and tricks that you can use to make your life more magical right now in this space just by changing how you think about the space that you are in. Over the last few days, we have been talking about how we clear our spaces, how we connect to our spaces with more consciousness so that we may use them as a support for our deepening magical practice. Remember, magical practice is a change in mindset. It's a change in how you view the world. And that is something that you need to tend every day in order to change your own habit track. Magic is an experience, it's an experiment, but it's also something that you build one day at a time. Hello, Boris. Hello, Claudia. It's good to see you here. We are here in 100 Days of Magic. Today, it's all about the water. We have talked about earth bringing our energy down. We have talked about fire bringing our energy out. We have talked about air connecting us here, there, and everywhere. Well, water asks us to transform. It's probably the most subtle of the energies in our three-dimensional space because it's everywhere, and yet we don't often think about it as much as we do the other elements, at least when we're talking about our sacred spaces. Earth we walk around on. Fire is the light that fills the space. Air is the air we breathe that connects everything. Water is the subtle places of transformation. So at its most simple level, it's water that we have out and about us. It's the water that we have in our bathrooms and our kitchens. Many people don't have bowls of water where they live out in their spaces. But if you do, it would be the water fountains, the water features. But without water, we feel crunchy. We feel dried out. We feel tired. And so considering the water element in our sacred place can add a special, hard to describe element because you're going to need a little bit more awareness to include it. So, one of the first things you can consider is the general humidity of where you live. Places that are really humid almost have too much water. It's water that encourages stagnation or the growth of mold. You might be worrying about removing some of that water and putting it in other areas in more helpful ways. Places that are so dry that you need to add water into the air so you don't get, bloody noses and dried skin. So we can always see now water is a balancing act. But that's what water is about. It's always teaching us to keep moving so that we can find our center space. Water is also a great addition to our book of tricks for space clearing. There are many places where you can't burn smudge, or it is inappropriate to have bells and ring them. So the number of psychic fairs that I've been in when the practitioners, when they want to clean their environment, have made a sponge spray out of water and a few drops of sage, it's pretty impressive. So having a bottle like this around as a way to mist yourself, mist your environment, can be another way to tap into the energy of essential oils that we talked about some of the last sessions. You could also put a little bit of salt in here, as long as it's well dissolved in the water. Salt water is the basis for holy water. In many religions around the world, just having a little bit of salt in the water, salt acts as a purifying agent, are all ways that you can begin to consider bringing water into your daily spiritual practice. But it can even go beyond that. Water is the element that we use to purify our spaces on all levels. So I remember back in the early 90s, I picked up a book on how to make your homemade cleaning things, whether an all-purpose wash for the counters or for the floors, spray for the windows out of all natural ingredients. Put a few drops of targeted essential oils in there, and now all of a sudden you have a witchy way to clear your space. You can make a magical floor wash that contains maybe a little bit of basil or some other protective herbs. Wash your floors with it, and now all of a sudden you're layering in your protection and your intention as you're doing the regular cleaning of life. Put a little bit of lavender in your wash water, and your clothes, again, pick up the elements of lavender, the clear thinking or the calm serenity. Even mass-produced things like stuff you buy in the grocery store is learning these tricks of putting in essential oils in the dishwashing detergent and the dish soap and the soap that you have in your showers. All of that relates into the water element and how we bring more consciousness in. So this concept of consciousness in a space starts when you're walking the aisles of a store and asking yourself, which of these elements relates to my magical practice in what ways? If I'm doing love magic, maybe I will bring home the products that can contain rose essential oils or jasmine essential oils because I know those are sacred to Venus. Or maybe if you're doing a lot of prosperity magic, you will bring home things that smell like oranges or things that smell like amber, because those are related to Jupiter. So you can begin to see how a little bit of magical thinking and being aware of what's happening in your 3D world, you can start to connect the dots from the store to your intentions to your space, and you could get them all working together. And this is how we begin to build intentions that work. We talked about intentions 3 or 4 weeks ago. Intention is your definite chief aim. It is the goal that you are trying to work toward. And intentions that spray water everywhere without consciousness are kind of like sprinklers. You don't get very far in manifesting what you want. But when you bring all those things together, layer upon layer, reinforcing each other, you begin to make more headway on crafting the life that you want around you. Same relationship to just like water seeps into all the crevices, just like a sponge soaks it up. What we are doing when we're creating sacred spaces is we're making sure everything is all connected. There's consciousness influencing all the choices that we make. From the spraying of ourselves with the misting of the creativity of water to managing the ambient humidity in our life, to what we're using to wash the floors or wash the clothes or do the dishes or wash ourselves. All of that can be related into one seamless whole. So sometimes people say, oh my God, it is so hard to live a magical life. How am I supposed to make space to perform rituals? Or how am I supposed to make space to remember these things? Use the stuff you're already doing is the place that you start. Then you don't have to make space. You can begin where you are. and what you are doing instead of making time that you have to add to your schedule. It's about adding consciousness to what you are already doing. Okay? All right. So that gives you a sense of where you can bring in some water into your world. Tomorrow we're going to talk about how we can start bringing all these ideas together. And we're going to start with how you make an altar and what altars in your space, what the essential ingredients of an altar are, what they stand for, and how they weave together our fire, earth, air, and water elements that we've just talked about over the next couple of days. One of those things that there's no right answer for. It's all about how you relate to the different elements. Okay? I wanted to thank you all for coming today. Oh, hey, Karen and Mary, I'm glad you are all here. If you want to share how you use the water element in your own world for creating sacred spaces, I'm sure we'd all love to hear your ideas. I may try to dig out my book with all of my homemade, eco-friendly, house cleaning, non-toxic brews and put it in the bottom here once I get off. But I hope you have been taking this month, now that we're 34 days in, just over a month, to begin to start creating new habits for yourself. After all, that is why I'm coming here day after day. It's not to just bother you, it's to encourage you. Your life can be as magical as you want it to be. It's all about you changing your relationship to what you are already doing and thinking differently, opening your mind, opening your experience. A small change in the way you think about things can have huge ripple effects to the rest of your life. And with that, I will leave you for today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we're talking about altars. And don't forget, if you haven't met me before, I'm Donna Woodwell. I run this Crossroads of Magic and Mastery. All of you who are looking for ways to make your life magical are welcome here. You're welcome to share. You're welcome to talk to one another and support each other on your journey. And if you're a content creator, you are more than welcome to share your work, to share your articles, to share your blog posts, to share announcements of the books that you've written, to share advertisements for the classes you're teaching. As long as it supports people and their practice, you are welcome here. All right? Until the next time, I look forward to seeing you then. Take care, everyone.